Hello, hello. Welcome to Best Life Abroad, not your average travel podcast, your go-to podcast for those adventurous souls who are dreaming of moving abroad. So I am your host, Dr. Raquel, and in today's episode, we have a special focus on all of the beautiful, wonderful geniuses out there that we all know as teachers. So for all of you teachers out there who are eager to embark on a new journey, take your skills overseas, this episode is for you. Now, moving abroad as a teacher, it is a great opportunity to broaden your horizons, experience new cultures, make lasting impact on the lives of students around the world as opposed to just in your city or town. And if you're a teacher and you're ready to be out of this K-12 grind, stay tuned because we are going to explore some practical tips and steps that you can take to make this dream of teaching abroad a reality. So let's do the thing, okay? So first, let me just give you a little background about myself. I began my journey in education as a K-12 Spanish teacher. So I absolutely understand many of the struggles that y'all are going through as teachers and many of the joys that you have as a teacher. So I absolutely love teaching, as most teachers do, but it's all the other stuff that gets in the way that will make you lose your whole mind going into certain situations every single day. So I tried to move into different spheres. I started out in K-12. I moved on over into an educator in higher ed. So working in higher ed, it ultimately led me to working at several universities in Europe. And when I say that my time teaching abroad was splendiferous, it really, really was. I really enjoyed my time teaching in Europe. And what I enjoyed most was my students. You know, there's always some level of something that you might not want to do or might not enjoy, or somebody who is rubbing you wrong in any place you might go. But I really enjoyed my students when I taught abroad. I enjoyed them in the US as well. But I say all that to say, like, it's not like you have to trade off liking what you do versus not liking what you do. You might find a spot. You might be able to find a place where you are a great fit, just like you were in the US. So sometimes you might think in order to connect to your students, you have to have similar background to yourself. And that is not always the case. I was able to have really meaningful, impactful conversations with my students from a much more global lens than I was able to have in the US. So there were so many times where I was just like completely amazed by how informed they were on like world policies and politics and just global impact and global connections. And so, you know, that's not going to be every student, of course, but as a whole, it was just so insightful teaching within this different type of a context. And I had never worked with such well-behaved students before in my life. I'm just going to drop that little gem right there. I literally would say things and they would do them the first time, and I would be in shock. Like, I remember going to one of my managers, like, so is this normal? And he was just like, yeah, why would they not? That's a great darn question you ask. Why would they not do what I told them to the first time? That's a good question. So, you know, just saying, it is possible that you can have students who are informed, well behaved, and you can have an environment where you're not ready to pull your hair out every day. Those things could be a possible reality for you if you decide to try something new. But let's go into some more practical steps on what you can do to get started. So first and foremost, research is key. You want to start by considering which country or countries that you'd like to teach in. You want to think about things like culture, language, lifestyle you're most interested in immersing yourself in. I do have on my website, www.yourbestlifeabroad.com, I do have a blog post that's called Country Considerations for you to take a look at. And that's just to help you think through different things as you are considering which country you'd like to be in. So do you have a particular destination in mind already? Are you open to exploring different options? So those are some things you want to think about. And then once you have a few locations in mind, then it's time to start gathering information. So to begin your research, One really good website to visit is Go Overseas. So that's www.gooverseas.com. Okay, so here they offer like a really comprehensive resource and really some good insights into teaching opportunities that are all around the globe. You can read reviews there from other teachers. You can find information on visas and work permits. Sometimes you can even get a sense of cost of living because people have given advice or insights around like what they were able to afford on their salaries. So it really is an excellent starting point to just familiarize yourself with various teaching destinations if you just are unsure kind of even what's out there. Another great resource is International School Services. So this website is www.iss.edu. Okay, so International School Services, and they really specialize in connecting qualified teachers with international schools all around the world. So their website does feature a job board, and there you can search for different teaching positions. You can filter by location. You can look at the different requirements and benefits of each of the opportunities that they post on their site. The website also gives advice on the application process and how to prepare for interviews. So I would definitely recommend this website. Even if you're not interested in teaching at an international school, it's just really good to give you kind of some foundational information that might be helpful somewhere else. And then Teachaway is another good platform that I would recommend exploring. This is www.teachaway.com. And they have another database there of international teaching jobs. They also offer support for teachers, and they're really intended to kind of help you through each stage of the process. So they give information about specific schools and countries. One thing that's cool about them is they also share like salary expectations. There are blog posts there as well with tips and insights from people who have already made the leap and decided to move abroad and teach abroad themselves. So you're really getting insights from people who have already done what you're trying to do. And then once you've gotten some different destinations, you explored some different opportunities, then now it's time to get your resume and your cover letter going. Okay. Indeed actually has a really good article and resource on how to write a CV for teaching English abroad. And I will go ahead and post that on my website too. And there's even a sample CV and a template that's there. So it really is pretty helpful. But when you're applying for teaching positions abroad, you want to highlight all of your relevant experience, certifications, any special skills that you have, any awards that you've won, anything that would make you stand out is what you want to make sure that you're highlighting. You want to be sure to emphasize your adaptability, your cross-cultural communication skills. If you've ever studied abroad before, those are things that you want to make sure that you're highlighting. And of course, your passion for teaching. So why are you interested in teaching outside of the US other than just getting away from K-12 within the US? Okay. Now, when it comes to certifications, the most widely recognized qualifications within teaching abroad is going to be TEFL, or Teaching English as a Foreign Language, TEFL. That is the most common certification. So obtaining a TEFL certification will definitely increase your chances of securing a job, but also it just helps you gain the skills that you need to be able to navigate the classroom within a foreign country. It's very, very helpful certification to have. You can find reputable TEFL courses on websites like TEFL.org, so TEFL.org, and also International TEFL Academy. That website is www.internationalteflacademy.com. So those are two TEFL sites where you can find courses and you can find information on the TEFL certification. Another possibility is a TESOL degree, so teaching English to speakers of other languages. I myself have a TESOL master's degree. And so, of course, a master's is going to be more involved than a certification, but it is another route for those who may be interested. When I started pursuing my TESOL degree, it was because I was interested in teaching in K-12 in Zurich. My husband was in Zurich. If you listened, of course you listened to season 1, episode 1, where we talked to my husband about kind of his journey to moving abroad. But he was in Zurich, Switzerland. And so I was looking into teaching opportunities in Zurich. And so I decided to get my master's in TESOL at the time. And so that is another option, obviously more involved, obviously more time, but could be something that you're interested in. Additionally, if you are interested in teaching at an international school, it is definitely important that you have a teaching license or certification from the US. If you do not have a teaching license, it will make it extremely difficult for you to then start teaching at an international school abroad. If you have any IB certifications, that would be even better. Many international schools will give you specific information and guidance on the qualifications that you need in order to teach at their school. So you just want to check their websites to see exactly what those requirements are. Okay. So you've researched potential destinations, you've explored teaching opportunities, and you are fine-tuning your resume, highlighting all of the wonderful things that you have done, all of the amazing experiences that you have. So now it is time to start applying. Okay, now most job applications will require you to submit a resume, a cover letter, and then maybe some additional documentation. Now, some schools will do the most and ask you to send and submit the most. Others will not. So you can just see kind of what you're feeling for the day, what you are able to give, and then you can move forward with your applications from there. But just be prepared to provide references, any transcripts, a criminal background, similar to what you would in the US. You also want to just remember, again, similar to the US, that the application process can take time. So you want to be patient, but you also want to be persistent. You are not going to just find that one school that has really cool looking kids, a really nice looking website. You feel like, oh, you'd be the perfect fit. So you're going to apply to that one. No, ma'am, that is not what we are going to do. You are going to cast your nets far and wide. Okay. You want to keep an eye on the job boards. You want to continue to refine your application material. You want to keep submitting applications. You want to network with other teachers who've gone abroad. Facebook has an online community for anything you could possibly enjoy. So you want to go ahead and start joining those different groups for teaching in the countries that you have already identified. If there are any job fairs, so sometimes there are actually job fairs in the US recruiting teachers to go teach overseas. So you want to be a part of all of those listservs and newsletters so you can be in the know whenever things are happening in your home city. And finally, once you've secured your teaching position abroad, then you want to start preparing for this amazing adventure that you are about to go on. That's when you start doing things like researching the cost of living, figuring out what housing options are available. So within some contracts, housing is actually included. Sometimes it might be housing like with a roommate, with another teacher. So if you're moving abroad with a family, this might not be something that you want to consider, but you just want to see what your options are in terms of housing, cost of living, visa requirements that you will need to get work in different places. Sometimes, like for example, I have worked as a contracted employee at different universities around Europe. And so what that meant was that I was not employed by the college. I was a contracted person. So I was a contractor that the college was working with. So there were certain things. My visa was not associated with a specific college. I was actually like a self-employed person who worked at a college. So those visa requirements can be very different. So you just want to know what those are. And then reaching out to other teachers and expats in the area to figure out what insights, what advice that they can give you. They've already gone through the process. You just need to learn as much as you can from them. And again, there are like groups all over the interwebs that can help you with these things. So now you're ready to get started. So if you are dreading another year, just know that you have the option to change that. Okay, you can decide what this next year will be. You can decide to keep it safe and comfortable, or you can decide to take a chance and step into this lingering dream that you've had for some time. And so I have a blog post on my website that is titled Helping Teachers Move Abroad, Top Companies for the Global Job Search. I would recommend that you take a look. You might get some helpful information in there on how to get started, on some possible websites that can help you as you're looking for different opportunities. Okay, but I definitely would recommend, like, if this is something that even vaguely interests you, if you're starting to get, I remember that I would start to get like this tension in my chest and this like feeling in my stomach the closer that we got to the start of school. Now I'll be like, oh Lord, help us. Oh my gosh, 12 more days. Oh my gracious, now we're at 8. How did this happen? Where did those 4 days go? We start school in 3 days. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And then when you start to have to actually go in person, like before the kids get there and everybody's like, hey, how you doing? Good morning. Because you know that nobody wants to be there. So it's unnecessary. So if you are starting to feel that, if any of what I am saying is resonating with you, please just take a look. Just try. Just see what's out there. You never know what can happen between now and the start of the school year. You never know what options you are not having because you're not willing to put yourself out there. So that's my 2 cents. Okay. And that wraps us up for today. So I really hope that you found these tips to be practical and helpful and inspiring. If you need some additional inspiration, then please listen to our Best Life Abroad, Not Your Average Travel Podcast, Season 1, Episode 2, because there it is called Educators Abroad, Aventuras en Honduras. And we speak to 2 educators who were teaching in Atlanta, and they decided that they've had enough. They want to try something different for themselves and their family. And they specifically say in that episode that the only regret that they have is that they wish that they would have done it sooner. And so it's possible for you. If you make the decision and you take the steps that you need to take in order to make it a reality, it can be a possibility for you too. So just remember, moving abroad as a teacher, it really is a great opportunity to grow personally and professionally. You can expand your reach of not just making a difference in the lives of kids in your neighborhood or in your town or in your city, but you can really make a difference in the lives of students all around the world. Okay? So if you are interested in moving abroad and you need some help taking that leap, I am here to support you on your personal journey. Head to my website at www.yourbestlifeabroad.com for information on how to turn your dream of moving abroad into reality. So thank you again for joining me today. I am so happy that you are here. I will see you in a few weeks. And just remember, there is no time like the present to live your best life abroad.